Now, oil prices are expected to increase after Saudi Arabia and other oil producers announced a production cut. Up to 1.1 million barrels per day will be cut from May until the end of the year. So what does this mean for us in South Africa? I'm now joined by Economist Joseph Busha. Thank you very much, Mr. Busha, for your time here on eNCA. What will this mean for us? More petrol increases, etc.?
It might mean basically high inflation. It might mean that interest rates will remain high where it is. And certainly, as you put it, onto the retail pump, which is petrol price might go up. Remember, we had quite a good reprieve in the last few years. We had crude prices averaging about 68 in 2021. It climbed up to about 94 in 2022. In October, it was trading at about 95. Currently, the average price is 80. So these countries, basically the OPEC countries, which is made up of 13 countries, decide that let's cut production, as we mentioned, which really represent about 1%, but that is quite significant given to the effect on some of us, which are not all producing countries.
Now, this also would then mean that our food prices, which, are already too high, the food basket right now is quite a lot of money. This will translate to that as well, right?
100%. You saw when Ntatele Seshikanyao mentioned the increase in interest rates last week, that food inflation is sitting at about 9%, which is higher than your normal core headline inflation. So this will have an effect, kind of a ripple effect into all the other sectors, including transport, because you are aware that when we get an interest rate increase, inflation increase, the taxi drivers will certainly also, or the transport sector will also increase their fares to the consumers, which will put them under more pressure, given the fact that already consumers are facing high interest rates and certainly higher in energy costs as well. Eskom increased its rates by about 18%, the tariff that was approved for Eskom. So it will certainly come to the consumer, into the pockets of the ordinary citizens of SA. We heard that after Russia invaded Ukraine, we started talking about sunflower oil, crude oil prices going up, and also shortages in some of our manufacturing sector.
And I wonder what this will mean then in terms of food security in our country. But also it would, like you said earlier, it would give the Monetary Policy Committee no choice but to make sure that to balance the forces, they keep increasing repo rates and interest rates. Are you telling me that because of these external issues, the prediction that the Reserve Bank some point in the middle of this year would keep it unchanged might not happen, and it will in fact probably continue to rise instead until the end of the year?
100%. So the growth rate was revised downwards. The interest rate repo increased by 50 basis points. Most people thought it might be 25 basis points, and our governor said, well, there's still a little bit of some risks onto the upside in terms of inflation, and we might only start seeing it coming down next year, possibly second quarter or third quarter of 2024, which means the pressures will remain domestically, given also our energy challenges. If we take the energy from diesel to electricity, solar and other renewables. So I think the pain, if you listen to his statement, it was a little bit hawkish, and the fact that we still got 50 basis points increase instead of 25. If they'd increased by 25, possibly another 25, then possibly they see everything under control. But you are pretty much aware that our growth rate is being kind of estimated downwards or revised downwards instead of us going back onto the upward trajectory.
All right. But now, is there nothing that the MPC or the Reserve Bank or our government can do to assist the consumer? Because at the moment already, people are really struggling.
So in the past, they have basically reduced a little bit of the levy. I think Minister did at some stage say, well, we'll give you 3 months or 6 months kind of reprieve, or in terms of that, because remember, this is an administered price. So they have to make that decisions also depending on the reserves they may have to be able to give that. But one of the factors that comes into play is the rand-dollar exchange rate. So over the last week, I think we're pretty lucky that we now just below that 18 rand to the dollar kind of exchange rate. We're sitting about 17.90. But that does not balance war. If petrol price goes up or the rand crude price goes up and our currency is weak, which means basically our imports cost also rises, given the fact that the rand will be weaker and the prices are going up.
Yeah, so it's external issues and internal issues that are leaving the consumer, business, etc., just scrambling in the pockets that are getting less and less deeper. Thank you so much for speaking to us here. That was economist Joseph Busha.